Story time. So, when I was a new art teacher, I was just kind of brand new and made a lot of mistakes. So, I'm going to share that mistake with you so that hopefully you don't make the same mistake that I did. I was a brand new art teacher and I had got hired in the middle of October of the school year. People did not know that I was hired for that position as they thought that I was a substitute for a while because they had a string of substitutes. But I was just trying to come up with any art lesson that I could. There was no curriculum, so I was just making things up as I went. It was a kindergarten through fifth grade school, and I was trying to think of lessons that would really hook the kids' attention. We had a lot of behaviors, we had a lot of language barrier. We had 400 students in this particular building, and 200 out of the 400 spoke other languages at home than English. So English at school, and we had 200 English language learners and sometimes multiple languages at home if mom and dad spoke other languages. So upwards of 2 or 3 languages per child. And I was art on a cart. So I was trying to think of things that boys would like and girls would like, and trying to think of the subject matter for them was probably one of my biggest mistakes. And I had seen this great lesson about elephants and decorating elephants with like crowns and jewels and like blankets and decorative things, and read them a book about elephants. And then I would make a how-to draw sheet for the students that didn't speak English. I would point to each step of what to draw next. And the students went along with the lesson. They were very kind and very polite. But when we don't know about our school, about our community, about our students, especially someone new, and I didn't know what I didn't know to ask, and where I was trying to not let students pick their own subject matter, inevitably you pick something kids are not going to connect with and that you don't know is triggering, right? Like if I make every student choose a cardinal, out of 24 kids, someone might not like cardinals or have a good association with cardinals. This happened with the elephant project, but in a worse way than I could have imagined. So, how do I put this? So, I had students that were from Bhutan, and they were being relocated to Nepal. So, people were calling these children Nepali children, but they're really from Bhutan. And then from Nepal, they're being relocated to different places all over the world. And one of the places was where I was working, but I did not know this. And that when they were in these like refugee camps in Nepal, elephants actually would walk through their camp and destroy tents and homes and harm people. Not maybe intentionally, but in a child's mind, intentionally. These elephants like stomped on things that were theirs, and these children were actually traumatized, and I had no idea. So what's important to notice or recognize is, we make mistakes and then we're humbled by them. So I made this mistake. I was horrified. And so what's the lesson, right? Number one is to ask about your community. Who are the children in your community? And learn about them from their teachers. Do your own research, and choosing things like methodologies that don't make the teacher in charge of choosing the subject matter that is going to please every child. So teaching for like artistic behavior, for example, is a great way of teaching tools, materials, allowing the children full access to the classroom and teaching them how to move around the classroom and how to get their supplies, but allowing them to choose their subject matter. They are going to be more invested also, and you're going to have less behaviors. But these are things I didn't know going out of college. And this is an embarrassing story. I have a lot of guilt and shame around that I made children, and they were so sweet about it. They like looked at me and looked at each other like, we're drawing elephants? Like elephants like stomped on our house and ruined this and ruined that. And I couldn't communicate with them. There wasn't always translators available to me. because they were pulled for other things and more important subject matter like math or writing or reading, things like that. And I had a flip phone. So now I have a smartphone. I could have used Google Translate now, but when I first started, I had a flip phone. No tablet, no laptop at work. My later job, these things were offered to me like laptops and tablets and Wi-Fi. So that was a struggle, is not being able to communicate. But I don't know if the children would have been able to tell me, like, I will not do that, because they were so kind and so polite and taught that I was the authority figure and not to disobey. So that's important to realize when we are in positions like educators and teachers as leaders, to allow children to push back and ask questions. But when you're in a position of authority, that these children did not feel comfortable, safe, or have the words to communicate, like, I don't feel comfortable doing this because I was traumatized by an elephant. So those are things to think about when making an art lesson and giving students voice and choice to choose their subject matter, that there's many ways to teach art education, versus like everybody has to do the same thing. You're going to eventually not hook a student or two. We can try, right? Like robots are a hit for almost every kid, but maybe you don't catch every single one. So that's my embarrassing story time for today, and something I still think about, and how to be a better teacher and a better instructor. And I wanted to share that in case that helps you think differently when you choose a lesson, and just allowing more freedom in your art lessons and art classes. All right, I'm going to go. Thanks.